Morning, and welcome to BJ's Esoteric Musings. I'm BJ, as you figured out, and before I start our discussion today on the continuation of the B attitudes, I just wanted to tell you quickly that I meant to get this out last week. However, I had gone through some oral surgery that was pretty intensive, and so I was rather swollen for most of the week and looked like I had been in a boxing ring with a heavyweight. So decided I better let everything calm down. Not to mention all the crazy energies that we've been going through as we built up towards that full moon that we experienced this weekend. Yeah, I'm sure all of you were rocked by that. And if you've been dealing with a lot of feeling of tired, I'm right there with you. So we are kindred on that journey for sure. But today I wanted to start our topic on the next beatitude that came to me, which was the meek inheriting the earth. And there was a wonderful quote that I found online by observationbaltimore.com that was put out on their website November 6, 2020, and I thought this encapsulated it well. Often the word meek has a negative connotation as too submissive. Other definitions seem slightly more positive. Slow to anger or resentment. Let's commit to another definition. A definition that can quickly remind us what is needed if our goal is to be effective with others. And that is meek equals strength under control. In my way of thinking, this definition of meek hits closest to the mark. Most would consider a broader definition of meek as being submissive, quiet, cowardly, or easily pushed around. Those are all definitions of weak, more so than meek. And they are opposites on the emotional timeline. Meek, in the way provided by the Master, seems to point more towards a very active process, similar in the ways of the Buddha, as quiet inner strength that those not in possession of may quickly misconstrue. But in further study and practice, find that it is far greater demonstrative, quiet strength that escapes the masses on whole, as they do not seek within to find those strengths, but default to the external definition that simply is easier and requires little discipline to control. I refer back to the final analysis given by the first paragraph that started this discussion. Meek equals strength under control. It takes a vast internal strength to stand patiently with shoulders squared and relaxed, arms to our sides, as someone attempts to berate us or try to bring us down a peg or 10 in their way of thinking. All the while knowing that this has nothing to do with the receiver of this barrage, but everything to do with the one wielding it towards the other. An observer of this type of interaction may wrongly see it as cowardice to just stand quietly as another verbally throws vitriol at someone. The true story is in the posture of the recipient as it's receiving the blast. A coward would shrink, curl into a fetal position at times, step back, or bow their head as though cowed by the other. Again, one who has developed the strength in the practice of being meek stands very strong and grounded, letting the slights and slurs of the other roll over them like a wave without absorbing or being impacted internally by anything that is coming at them. The meek stand in their personal truth, knowing that their internal work is the scaffolding that holds them strong and their spine erect as they attempt to slightly preach a lesson to the one who is truly out of control of themselves and their emotions. When someone holds to nothing but the external forces in which they have long aligned themselves, they become parrots of thoughts and language that they not only have no clear understanding of, but simply have caved to the propaganda of the masses without any need to think, question, or even take within themselves to ponder the truths or lack thereof within. Everything in their day-to-day is externally driven with little or no consideration to what is under or behind that messaging, and if it is valid or if it has merit. It is basically a big nothing that they have chosen to latch onto and repeat. That is weakness under no control. They seek the validation of actions amongst their peers and those groups in which they align. One who is in the practice of the strength of meekness has done an internal work, knows their sources and the internal wellspring from where that strength originates, and stands firmly on that, knowing they are supported in a very real way, though not always visible to the eye of another or specifically their assailant. And that does not matter one whit to them, because they have a clear understanding beyond the core of their being that the Creator and His representatives who are standing there beside the one who walk and practice the be attitudes in our day-to-day. So that when a situation arises, which is surely will at some point, they are well versed and grounded in those practices and know they are immediately surrounded and supported during the confrontation, whenever it occurs. By this explanation, it seems very understandable that the meek would indeed inherit the earth by the very act of not physical reaction, but the active strength of appearing passive externally as they stand in the greater power that is truly available to all of us if we would but seek it out. It is our recentering of the world without ever creating violence or warring on others to forcibly take rather than cooperatively work alongside and develop a trust that would then allow for a joining in purpose rather than oppose in a defensive posture. That is, to my thinking, how the meek can inherit the earth and the environs in which they find themselves. I also want to clarify that this discussion and others I am offering are as much for my own development as they are for the listener. As my parents taught us from our early ages, I am no better or worse than anyone else, finding their way in the journey we each must walk. My hope is that we can engage in topics that will provoke the listeners to leave here and ponder what was spoken in my musings. Internalize the dialogue and test it against your own sounding boards to determine what has value to emulate and what does not serve at this point for your journey. As one author or possibly several have pointed to, in truth, we are all just walking each other home. So this is a judgment-free zone. It is my hope to build it to a wonderful, safe, esoteric think tank of concepts of the divine that will enable each of us to walk our paths in truth and with contemplation, that we may reflect our light outward into what so many see as a dimming world, that the light may so permeate into the crannies, crevices, and nooks in and around us, so that they may vibrate their way out of the dark recesses and come happily into the light of the greater understanding, allowing us all a kinder and gentler journey as we begin to step lightly in our interactions with ourselves, our families and friends, and outward to our community and beyond. We are continually reminded that the only way around this is through it. Love more and judge not, or certainly judge less. And just on another personal note, I do want to let you guys know that I have the challenge of dyslexia. And unfortunately, it was never diagnosed in all the years I was in school. I guess probably being older, they didn't look at that a whole lot or didn't understand it. So when I get stumbling around sometimes as I'm reading the words I've written, that's what's doing it, is I'm flipping things around, and so I'm trying to readjust and get things sorted. So just bear with me. As I said, very human here, very, very human. And I do, before I close today, I do want to go ahead and, I made good time on this. And let's draw a card. Actually, let's draw 2 cards today. And I decided to go to the Nature's Whispers deck. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Nature's Whispers, but it is beautiful, beautiful artwork. I hope you guys can see these. So, forgive my little shuffle here. I'm going to shuffle for a minute. And let's go ahead, oops, and choose some cards. These are so big, and my hands are so arthritic now. I have a hard time hanging on to them. So, the joys of aging sometimes, right? And I always say, being a child of the 60s and onward, born in the 50s, that, I always thought live fast, die young, and leave a pretty corpse. But, well, that didn't work out. So I sometimes think it's not so much the years, but the miles on that I put on it during those years. So enough said on that, as I try to fill the void. Okay, let's find some nice cards. 2, 2, 2. 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. We're going to want that one. And what else? I like that one. That one. Okay. So, the 2 cards that were pulled were, so perfect for today's discussion. I keep forgetting the camera's up higher. Intuition. Isn't that gorge? And contemplation. And being the Leo I am, I love the lion being included in that. So, both pretty self-explanatory. But in the intuition card, I love the fertility of the mind. Look at all the beauty that's in there, reflecting outward, and actually goes along with what is below her as well. But it's through our intuition that we began to create the infinity that is within and without. And we keep repeating that, circling within and without, within and without, as we learn to hone and trust our intuition. And another one that's always been a big, big word for me and practice is contemplation. Look at her as she ponders, lazily relaxing against the lion, who is also looking his eyes towards the area that she is looking to. The butterflies, the beautiful, beautiful butterflies in flight. And the lion cub. Also, the lion cub over here. Always important as we look at different concepts to take the time to contemplate them. Really take it into what I always refer to as the Holy of Holies, the heart center, the pineal. We hold it there. We contemplate it. We quiet ourselves and listen for those answers that are there for us if we wait long enough in suspension to hear them. And with that note, I'm going to wrap this for today. I thank anyone who was here listening to this. If you found my words of value and find that you want to continue, please like and subscribe, as that helps build the channel at no cost to yourselves. And please share with others if you think that the content here is something that they would enjoy. I would definitely like to continue to build this. And I don't think I need to give the disclaimer for entertainment purposes only, because I'm not talking politics. I'm trying to talk deeper truths. So on that note, I wish you all a splendid week ahead, and I will look forward to the next installment within our be attitudes. Thank you so much, and bye-bye for now.